All right, so we're diving into this whole Sean Combs thing. Yeah, P. Diddy, all those names. But this is way bigger than, your usual celebrity gossip. This is a full-on federal indictment. And let me tell you, the charges are something else. We're talking serious stuff here. We've got these excerpts right from the official document.
Yeah.
And whoa, it's wild.
It's really, you hit it, the gravity of these charges. Racketeering, sex trafficking, forced labor. It's not just a slap on the wrist kind of thing. This is organized crime territory. We're talking about the big leagues.
Organized crime. Wow. Okay, so this isn't just about one incident then.
Right. It's about a pattern. The indictment lays out how the government sees this alleged pattern. This isn't a conviction, not yet, but it's their case. And that word, racketeering, that's a sign they're going after a whole structure, like a group working together illegally.
So where does Sean Combs fit into this? Like, what's his role?
So they're alleging this whole thing, they're calling it the Combs enterprise. Like it was operating underneath his legitimate businesses, music, clothing, the whole empire.
Combs Enterprise? That sounds like something out of a movie, seriously.
Right. But if these documents are anything to go by, it was very real and very disturbing. They're saying Combs used his power, his influence, to pressure women, vulnerable women, into doing things they didn't want to do. They call them freak-offs, and the indictment claims they were basically orchestrated with Combs and often multiple commercial sex workers.
God, that's just awful. And this Combs enterprise, that's how they say he organized it all, even profited from it.
That's what they're alleging, yeah. They claim he was using his employees, money, resources, all from his legit businesses to make these things happen. And it gets worse. They're saying he was using drugs to control these women and promising them career advancement to get them to go along with it.
So it's not just the events themselves, but this whole system he allegedly had going.
Exactly. And again, these are still allegations. Combs is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But still, it's a very troubling picture they're painting. Very troubling.
So we're talking like serious exploitation, right?
Right.
This goes even deeper than just these freak-offs, right?
Yeah, you're right. This is where it gets even more disturbing, really. This indictment, it describes a pattern of abuse and control going way beyond just those events.
Okay, so what else are we talking about here? Like, give me the specifics.
Well, they're alleging physical violence, like actual punching, kicking, even throwing things at these women. They even mention a specific incident back in 2016 at a hotel in Los Angeles. Combs allegedly assaulted this woman, and it was even caught on video.
Oh, wow. That's really bad.
It is. And it wasn't just physical either.
Yeah.
The indictment also says he was emotionally abusive, manipulation, threats to their careers, controlling their money, really trying to keep these women trapped.
And then you've got the whole drug aspect, too, which we talked about that a little before.
Yeah, and they're saying Combs would actually supply these women with drugs, almost like a way to, I don't know, keep them in line, maybe. There's even mention of him, like, overseeing their 5E treatments afterwards, which, again, adds another layer of control to the whole thing.
It's like he was trying to, I don't know, manage every aspect of their lives or something.
Exactly. And I think if you take a step back, it makes you think about the bigger picture here, the power dynamics, especially in the music industry. You look at what happened with the #MeToo movement, and it's clear that this kind of abuse, this coercion, it's not exactly unheard of. It makes you wonder, how many other stories are out there? Stories we haven't heard because people are too afraid to speak up.
That's a chilling thought, actually. And speaking of intimidation, this indictment, it talks about Combs trying to silence witnesses. It's like something out of a movie or something, except it's real life.
And that's where things get really interesting from a legal standpoint because, witness tampering, that's a very serious offense. You start messing with witnesses and you're messing with the whole foundation of our justice system.
Okay, so break this down for me. What exactly are they saying he did?
So they're claiming he went to great lengths to control the story, to silence anyone who might hurt his reputation. We're talking about pressuring witnesses, the victims, to keep quiet. Even like feeding them different versions of events, trying to discredit them before they could say anything.
So it's not just about the alleged acts themselves, but about a cover-up as well.
That's exactly what the indictment is getting at. And according to these documents, it goes even further. They actually mention recordings, phone calls that Combs allegedly used as leverage to keep people quiet.
Wait, recordings? Like phone calls, can they even use that in court?
That's the big question, right? Were those recordings obtained legally? Was there an expectation of privacy in those conversations? These are all things the courts will have to consider as this case moves forward.
So where does this leave Sean Combs then? Like, what happens next in this whole legal process?
Well, this is just the beginning. You're looking at arraignments, maybe plea deals. And if this thing goes to trial, well, it could be a long and complicated road.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? About, I don't know, the responsibility that comes with that level of fame, that kind of power, and how easy it is to abuse it.
It really does. You know, we've talked about the legal stuff, but this goes way beyond that. This case, whether he's ultimately found guilty or not, it's a wake-up call, I think.
How so?
Well, for starters, it makes you wonder just how many other stories like this are out there, right? How many people have been hurt, silenced, because someone like this held their career, their livelihood in their hands.
It's like you said before, that this could be just the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. And it forces us to confront some really uncomfortable truths about ourselves, about our society, about how we deal with power, how we hold people accountable.
It's a lot, for sure. But it's important. So for our listeners out there, what's the takeaway? What should we be really paying attention to as this case unfolds?
I'd say watch closely, but don't just follow the headlines, you know? Look at the details, the arguments from both sides, and think about the bigger picture. What does this tell us about our culture, about these systems we've built? That's the real question here.
This whole deep dive, it's been eye-opening, to say the least. This is a story with a lot of layers, and we're definitely not at the end of it yet. We'll be keeping a close eye on it, that's for sure. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.